Well, what up, dude?
Oh, hey.
Welcome to another episode of Low 5 Gaming.
Studio Lo-Fi.
Brought to you by Studio Low 5. Low 5, bro.
Lo-Fi. I say it the correct way all the time. So, no issue here.
Witcher. Should we talk about how hot Henry Cavill is?
Super hot.
He's so hot, dude. I don't even care.
He's a little too big, though.
What?
Yeah, I mean, he's too thick. I don't know.
Thick boys.
Tone him down a little bit is all.
Remember when Samus got thick?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Randomly thick.
That's for later, though.
Randomly large.
There she is. Look at that.
Yep. Real buff. Real buff.
Well, my name is Alex, your host, and my co-host Luke.
Yeah.
We are brothers, and we
Sometimes.
bring you Low 5 Gaming.
There we go. Lo-Fi. Pronunciation on the 5.
5. Look at, give me a low 5, bro.
Oh,
Gaming.
dang.
Low 5.
Yeah, nice.
Nice.
Oh, you really want one? Okay. There we go. I really wanted one, eh?
I want to get your update, dude. What's going on with Mario Golf? What do you rate that game today?
You know, I think I put it up to an 8, anticipating that the updates would make it go higher. And then
Right
there's been a few updates. I believe the last one they said is the last free update, meaning they might do DLC. I guess we'll see.
Oh, really? I did not know about this.
Yep. So a robust
Son of a
cast of
bitch.
characters. Yeah, a robust cast of characters. They got.
There's like 6 empty squares. I don't want to pay for more characters.
Well, it depends how cool they are. Yeah, right. Wiggler was added to the equation because you know my golf adventures are not complete until I can hit a club with Wiggler, classic Mario character. And then
He's huge.
Yeah, very large, very fun. And Shy Guy, one of the newer ones, they got that little ninja guy there. I mean, they're a little goofy. One thing I wondered is why they don't open it up like Smash Bros. Style, and why isn't it just all Nintendo IP? Like Link golfing would be entertaining, and then you could do way more of the courses. But overall, I think the gameplay is still great. Still pretty much the same on that. Where's our super top spin? But other than that, everything's pretty great. But the courses in the end, we played a little while back. We booted up the old GameCube. And the only one we could play was the treetops because we didn't unlock anything because we just booted it up again.
Yeah.
And that was more imaginative than almost any course in the new game. So like the courses are cool and they look great and the art's cool and the game's fun, but it's kind of lacking some of the zaniness I would have really wanted there.
I think it was you telling me about they collaborated with the folks that did the maps for Breath of the Wild?
Yeah, they had like a conversation with them about how to do that. And
Yeah, which I see that now when I look at the maps. I'm like, okay, I see
reuses
that.
a lot of properties. And
I don't like it though.
No, it gets a little boring. Like even in their new like All-Star Summit, which is probably their coolest, most like wacky, zany course they have.
Mm-hmm.
Everything's the shape of the different Mario characters. So like there's a ton of sand pits and it's harder. But like goddamn, I just want to like hit it into a tube and have it like pop out.
Sure.
Have, like and as a shortcut, this like high skill, high risk reward type stuff. And I wanted more ridiculousness like that. But great game. It's gonna stay at that 8.
He's keeping it at 8.
Just keeping it at 8. I still go back and I do the monthly challenge. It's fun.
Okay. Yeah.
Once again, the outfits could be a bit more imaginative as well.
Oh,
but that's
what about that? Those overhauls, dude.
just classic Mario.
I was pretty stoked about those.
Really,
ones.
I thought you were being sarcastic
No.
when you're like had to get the classic overalls, dude. I was like,
for
wow.
sure. No, I wanted those ones for sure. I mean, over the visors and all that other bullshit they've been giving us.
Yeah, I mean, it's still incredibly stupid that Halloween month like wasn't Luigi with the Luigi's Mansion like vacuum pack or something ridiculous like that. Like, there's easy ones
That
really
does feel like a
could've-
missed opportunity.
And then for courses, like you could have done like a lot of fun stuff. Like they didn't even have like much of a Peach's Castle or like there's a Bowser Wastelands. It's pretty cool. I actually liked Bowser Wastelands, but like other than that, they could have done like a haunted Luigi's Mansion theme.
Sure.
One. There's just a lot they could have done, and I'm a little surprised and curious as to why they didn't. So it's not the game we had desired before release, but it's still a really cool game, and I'm glad it exists.
So when I was taking care of editing that particular episode, you actually gave it an initial 6.
Ooh, was it a heavy 6?
6, bro.
Well, it wasn't a finished game.
So it's bumped up its way quite a bit since the 6. And I believe in our first what's going on with Mario Golf update, you said that you had given it a 7. So it's been creeping on you without you even knowing.
Yeah. I mean, and, you know, my year in review
Yeah.
is the second most played game, and I anticipate playing it. They should have done more. It should be wackier. The characters are cool. I kind of like the specials.
Totally.
So yeah, it's cool.
I am disappointed that we still do not have a tournament mode. Where the fuck is that?
Back in 2005.
You said DLC. Yeah,
Right.
you said DLC. That I would pay. I would be like, you know what? I'll throw down for damn tournament mode.
Alex's tournament mode.
I will say that they have added, and I believe this was true during our last update about it, but they have added an online, what would you call it? It's like a game mode where you basically play 3 holes against random folks online, and essentially you're trying to get your grade up to an A. Mm-hmm. So over every time you play, depending on how well you play, you accumulate a certain amount of points.
You acquire points regardless as well.
Right. And so that will upgrade you to like an A status, or A minus rather, when you finally get to, you know, from C all the way to A minus. Then you unlock whatever that monthly skin is. So this month it was the Mario overhauls, which I actually was kind of stoked about, and I was like, I'm going to do this.
Yeah, it's better than some overall NFTs or something awful like that. So it could be worse.
Yeah, no, for sure. And then, but you know, it's just enough where, you know, most of the months I haven't really cared about what the update was, and like I don't really care about the overalls. But it was like an exciting one enough where I was like, I'll do this. I'll play a little bit, and it's been a nice check-in.
The lamest one, the only one that hasn't been worth it in my opinion thus far, has been Boo with a visor. That was like, okay, Boo has a visor instead of just not a hat. That's interesting, which it was not. But like the colored Yoshis, which sounds like a weird slur, the colored Yoshis and the colored Toads, those are cool. So, you know, it's
right
a
on.
little hit or miss, but.
So you're sticking at an 8. I think I'm going to keep it at 8. I think I was at an 8. I'm going to keep it an 8.
Yeah.
You might have talked me down to 7 my first time, but I think 8 is acceptable.
You got to call them out for releasing a 2/3 complete game a little bit. So.
Right, yeah, for sure. But we're not here to talk about Mario Golf, are we?
This is your monthly Mario Golf podcast update. Mario Golf.
We're here to talk about Metroid Dread.
Oh, yeah.
So I'm pretty stoked on this game. It was released back in October 8th, 2021 for the Nintendo Switch. I've been stoked for this game to drop, right? I'm a bit of a Metroid stan, oddly, because I've like dabbled in some of the primes, but I haven't really played any of the primes. I have played all of the 2D installments, and this would be the last of those installments.
To completion?
Let me see. Yes.
Oh, dang.
With the caveat.
You can explain the story then.
Yes, the story of Metroid.
All right.
Nah, man. What is the story of Metroid? Does that really matter? I don't know, man.
It's sci-fi nonsense.
Totally.
That's okay.
You're a badass bounty hunter named Samus Aran.
Aran.
Right. I always used to say Samus Aran. Or no, what did I say? Samus
You're like
Aran.
a bounty hunter, but you're always doing something
Aran.
like very super important to everybody. So like maybe just Space Ranger.
Right.
Like she seems too good of like, for the good and evil of the world, you must like, who's paying Samus to get all this done? I don't know.
Where's she spending her money?
It's
got all that
to
loot.
Get her powers lost? I don't know.
Yeah. I have played all of them. I have not beat the original Metroid for Nintendo, but I did beat Metroid Zero Mission, which is a remake of that game that was put out for Game Boy Advance.
Okay.
I have beat Metroid 2, Return of Samus, which is a game put out for the Game Boy, but I have not played to completion Metroid Samus Returns, which is a remake of that game made in 2017 for the DS. So it gets a little confusing with the rollouts of these 2D Metroids, but essentially there are 4 official installments. 2 of those are remakes, I believe. And then this last one is Metroid Dread, which is supposed to be the culmination of Samus Aran's.
Aran.
I believe I would always call her Samus Aran, but in the end of this game, they do name drop her, and it's Aran. So
I did notice that. Yeah.
So I'm just gonna have to swallow that one.
Nah.
It's just like my
whatever
ocarina.
You want. It's an ocarina, man.
Samus Aran is my ocarina of time.
No, cool. And I've only played this. You know, we make Mario Golf podcast jokes. This was originally a Super Metroid. It's the first game we played.
True, and I forgot to mention that one in the 2D lineup. So Super Metroid would be thrown in the mix. How was that one for you? Did you beat that one?
Man, I didn't finish that final boss. I got tired of it. And I had gone through enough nonsense at that point. So, I mean, it was a lot of fun. It holds up pretty well for like a Super Nintendo game. Those games are just brutally hard, but I definitely cheesed it with the reverse stuff on the Switch emulation. But it was a great game. It holds up in a lot of cool ways, especially like the art and the music.
Totally.
And the vibes.
And the art, music, and vibes in this game are pretty dope too. I think they did a great job of that. So the game itself is put out by Nintendo and MercurySteam. MercurySteam actually was the development studio behind Metroid Samus Returns. So apparently, as the business lore goes, this was a game that MercurySteam and Nintendo wanted to make as a sequel to Samus Returns. However the fuck that works in your timeline of the history, because the Samus Returns is a remake of Return of Samus.
Yo, everybody. Just going to jump in here real quick to semi-sort things out. MercurySteam is a development company that actually made the Metroid Samus Returns remake I was talking about. So that is the 3DS version of Metroid 2, The Return of Samus. Now, Metroid Dread is a sequel to Metroid Fusion, which wasn't made by MercurySteam, but that was always the plan, was to have them make this Dread game as a sequel to Fusion, and Samus Returns was sort of a test run to see if they'd be up for the task. I believe that kind of sorts it out here, but let's proceed.
It's convoluted and Nintendo.
Yes.
Yeah.
But the point is though, there's these things called Emmys in this game, right? Which are extraplanetary multiform mobile identifiers.
Nailed it.
So these robots that
it's a big stalking robot.
Right. We'll talk more about them
from the trailer.
We'll talk more about them in a little bit, but essentially they have this AI component where they chase Samus down. And that was just something that technology wasn't there yet when they wanted to make this game. So to my knowledge, it's been on the back burner for a long time. And finally now with the Switch and the advancements that have been made in, I don't know, the magic of video games, we have been given Dread.
Yeah. And even some say that the Switch is barely powerful enough to run it.
Yeah.
Its full capability, you can kind of tell it lags just a tiny bit, which is a little crazy because it's a 2D game, but it is gorgeous. So I get it.
It is. The art really is gorgeous, dude. And it's the fluidity of it all. It's kind of funny because I actually, upon completion of this game, popped in a couple of the old Game Boy games and also tried out Super Metroid a little bit. And I tell you what, man, I've been spoiled by Dread. The advancements in the controls of this thing and just like the gameplay of it all, it's cool. It's a solid update to this 2D series.
Yeah, I only have really those two. So I can't imagine going backwards in time, but the game is very slick. The handles are cool. I like it.
And you completed this one as well, right?
I did. I beat this one a day before you. Shout out.
Got it in there.
Yeah, no, for sure. It took us about 10 hours to complete, but about 2 months because the game's intense.
It is, man. It is. And it's something that it's interesting because I went super hard for the first half of the game, or right around half. And then I was like, I need a break. Yeah. And then I took a solid month and a half break. No joke. There's some cool games thrown in the mix as well in the meantime, which kind of pulled me away from that. For instance, Ocarina of Time. We started playing that one. So be on the lookout for some more Zelda talk. Right. But, so I've been kind of splitting my time amongst that and a couple other games. But for whatever reason there is nothing against this game. I don't really know what it is other than the fact that maybe it is intense or the whole puzzle-like nature of Metroid. But I needed a break.
It's definitely all the above. I only played in 1 to 2 hour installments. It felt like it gave me the playtime, and I didn't really believe it.
Sure.
I was like, no, it was way longer than that. But I mean, from the moment you pick up the game, you die a bunch because the Emmys are just trashing you, especially in the beginning. And then
some of the bosses are grueling.
Yep, Metroid's not exactly an easy franchise in general. So I felt from the moment the game doesn't really ease you into anything. It's kind of like you're just in it and you better survive and you're going to die a bunch. You're going to learn a bunch. So it kind of makes sense that it's not a hard game. I mean, it is, but it's not like a game where it's it's fetishizing hard.
Sure.
But
sure.
It's very
You want to talk about Souls games again?
Right. It's not fetishizing hard, but it's It's difficult, and it's not like if you better have a lot of attention. You can't casually play it while you're, watching football, playing a little Metroid on the side. Like, it's your whole attention if you're playing.
You do have to hone into
You
it.
kind of got to be in the right mood, and then kind of the pokey stuff with the map, which is just classic Metroid, being pokey with the map. That can be really grating when you're like tired.
Sure.
So like you kind of gotta have a full tank. Can't be driving on a half tank playing any Metroid.
I'll admit too, you did beat it, about 24 hours before I did.
Yep.
Which is what it is.
Well, we kind of, we clearly don't actually care, but like it was a way that we kind of got each other to, like, we both very much enjoyed the game. So it's weird to hear us say this, but like
It got us back into it.
yeah, it was a way to keep each other honest and like get an incentive to boot it up. Cause it's like, I can mindlessly play some Madden and that's very little mental drain, or I can boot up, Metroid and get some sweaty palms at 8 in the morning.
Oh man, this game made me sweat, bro. Like for sure. Let's
sweaty ass palms on a Sunday morning, not yelling at my TV like an adult, but things happened.
To just get this on the storyline you asked about earlier, some high level storyline to this is, yes, you're this Samus Aran. You're this
Samus Aran.
Samus Aran. It is, goddamn.
I know.
But anyways, you are a bounty hunter, intergalactic bounty hunter, and essentially the computers or whatever's going on in the spaceship, like tracking on some Metroid. The Metroid thing's kind of confusing, but they are this species that are one point very powerful and also detrimental to the universe, but maybe helpful. I don't know what's going on with that, to be honest. But
It's kind of
Samus
in Adult Swim, how they'd have like the anime night on Saturday nights. If you just dropped yourself in the middle of an anime, it'd be like anime nonsense for a half an hour because it's like episode 720 of a very specific series. Like listening to any Metroid lore is like being dropped in the middle of the sci-fi version. You're like,
for sure. And
Got
when this
it.
one, when this game started, it had a really long intro, which actually like the Super Metroid does as well. But I read all of that one. This one, I was like, I don't want to read any of this, and so I kind of skipped through it.
I read it, but I was like, got it, cool, space cowboy. I'm on her, figure the deal, got it. Kill some zombie thingies. I don't know.
But Samus, she gets dropped into Zeebies or Zeebs,
Right.
which is this planet that she's on. There's a whole bunch of weird stuff going on.
Which
Metroid
might be a
type
new
thing.
name, not to cut you off. It might be a new name, or every planet could be that name. I don't know the difference.
Is it Zeebs? I don't even remember anymore. What's going on in
It's
Metroid?
the blend of their names and the lore. It's difficult.
Hey everybody, we are clearly confused about the lore of this game. It does not help that we played Super Metroid not too long ago, and that I'm always jumping in between different Metroid games because I just love the whole Metroidvania format. But anyways, ZDR is the new planet in Dread. So Zeebs is or Zeebies, whatever. That is a planet that Samus goes to in different Metroid games. This is actually a new planet this time, and the planet is ZDR.
But this time you had to work from the bottom up, where normally in Metroid games you're working the top down, right? To fight whatever nemesis that you have, which you mentioned earlier, which I didn't think about, but Ridley, spoiler maybe, I don't know, is not in this game.
Not that we know of, no.
Could be some like
Us
weird
laymen
time
couldn't
unlock
find
thing.
it.
But anyways, so you're working, you're looking to escape this place. You lose all of your power-ups, and you have to go about regaining those.
Yeah, you got to get back to your ship.
And you have to, that this Ravenbeak character, who is the main boss, that that person or that entity exists, and that you will have to fight him at some point in time. So that's basically, I don't know, as far as a story, like Wikipedia or something, it's out there. Does it really matter? I don't think so. It's fun. You can definitely get into it. I enjoy it.
It's a Metroid game.
But it's a Metroid game, and that's, essentially I just wanted to get into it, and, to go along with that is Metroid, along with Castlevania, kind of introduced what Nintendo will not claim it as Metroidvania, but Soleil folk will call it Metroidvania, which is a type of game where you essentially have to explore different areas of your map. You kind of come across places where there might be some signposting, or you might realize that you need to come back at a certain point, but right now you're not able to progress in that area until you have whatever ability is going to let you do that. That's like quintessential Metroid, right? For instance, you might there might be a small tunnel or something that you need to get through, but you can't crouch to get through. But probably later on, you'll get a morph ball. You can get in your morph ball and go through there. Or you'll get some sort of power missiles that allow you to blow up on a certain door, something like that. But that's kind of what you're doing, right? So you've got this Metroidvania, the story, who cares?
And
Essentially,
there's
you're a cool badass, and you're
always some
blowing your way out of a map.
Yeah, there's always some mechanic as to why you lost all of your superpowers and have to start all over.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like that's the one last cliche to definitely get out of the way is you've lost your abilities and you got to find them all back. And
Right. And I was nervous, man. I'll be honest, with the whole idea that we have this genre that we call Metroidvania, and this idea that it's 2021 and the last installment of this game came out in 2017, but that was a remake, so therefore, this is number 4 in a line of 4 of 4. But it would have been 1991, I suppose, that the return is... No. Fusion would have been the next one in Game Boy. So 2002.
yeah,
But still, bro, that's 18 years.
end of the 2D format. So it was
Right.
interesting that they came back with the side-scrolling up-down 2D format.
And I'm glad they did, but I was nervous. I was like... You may recall when this game was getting... I was excited for it to come out, but I was also one part like, oh no, if the general public doesn't like this game, if it's shit, they won't
Yeah.
make any more Metroids. It just
Right.
won't happen. But I would say that the reception has been pretty good.
Yeah, no, people seem to like it. And
In fact, it was awarded the Best Action Adventure from the Game Awards.
nice.
Best Action Adventure Game.
You watched the Game Awards?
Nah. I saw some updates.
Right. No, but it's cool, especially after whatever's happening with Metroid Prime 4, which is mysteriously in development, not in development for 8 million years now. So
Right.
we'll see what's up with that. But this was
It
encouraging.
should be cool.
And can you do a master class on the genre you invented
And they did.
when other people have come out and had some real haymakers, like Hollow Knight being probably
Right.
the most famous and the coolest? But yeah, they did. I knew it was cool from, let's get into some mechanics, when you first get that slide.
Oh, yeah.
That slide's buttery. I mean,
That's-
I guess games have to have
Ooh,
slides
slick.
now, but that slide's a lot of fun.
It is. The slide's cool. The whole, let's talk a little bit about the gameplay, kind of those mechanics. So, what were some of your favorite moves? What did you like? What pulled you into this game? Yeah. What did you like about it? What did
That's
you
very
like about
NPR. Yeah. We're doing the interview. Yeah. Yeah. I would I would love the gameplay's fun. You have your classic shooting your missiles, shooting your beam, getting different upgrades all the time. We can go over upgrades in a little bit. But just in general, what I really, really loved about the game is that I made the joke buttery, but the controls were incredibly smooth. Graphics were gorgeous, so it definitely looked like the highest end, like the fanciest version of this thing. Kind of like when you take a crispy chicken sandwich and you got the bougie high-end version. It's just a chicken sandwich, sure. But this is what you do it when you nail all the ingredients perfectly.
You'd be nice to Burger King now.
Now,
Still trying to get that king money.
Still trying to get the king money. I wasn't going to bring him up. No, but it was really cool. So I really liked, the classic Metroid stuff. They've always been really cool with the vibe, really cool with the atmosphere. And the Super Nintendo, even the art for that era, even going back, that felt really cool. So in this, even though they're doing an older school style, it still felt like the glossiest, prettiest way to do it.
Sure. And you bring up how you're kind of surprised they went back to this 2D format and everything, especially with the advancements of, where we are at with games. But I think that they did that to such a polished level. It was really cool just to run through. I don't think it's Thebes anyways. I think it's a different planet. Who cares? When you're running around,
Sci-fi
this
nonsense.
place. Yeah, when you're running around, you look at the background and it's not static, right? So you can see there's certain times where you can actually see these Chozo Warrior enemies stalking you almost in the background or watching you, whatever you're doing. Or it just might be some weird alien that's just living its life in the background. And it's just kind of cool. You get to see those movements as opposed to the art itself is cool, but then to see those actual movements happening as you're running through the map is pretty cool, I thought.
You're like, oh god, I got a boss coming, because the game loves to hit this bomb block, and then you go falling through somewhere, and you're like, all right,
Sure.
what room is this? And they're like, it's a boss battle.
Yeah.
Which is funny because you're gonna do that boss battle 20 more times. But,
Oh man. So this more than
but
any
it's a
other
surprise
Metroid
that
game.
first time.
So it's not abnormal to have to learn a boss's tropes. You have to figure
Cadence of
out
it almost.
the cadence of the whole
Yeah.
thing. Yeah, thank you. Where in past Metroids that's certainly the case. But then if you died, you would have to go back to the save state, which is a physical save state in the game, and that could be a solid track away from your boss battle. What I liked about Dread is that every time you entered a boss fight, it automatically created a save state for you. So if you lost, you could go back to the doorway that you entered right before that boss, right? So you could keep tearing through these bosses without having to spend all this time backtracking, which I thought was really cool. Interestingly, if you turned off the game in the middle of a boss battle or whatever, it does bring you back to your last save state. So it's this interesting game mechanic, I think, that they've introduced that helps streamline the boss process, but I liked it. I was cool for it. I thought that was super cool. And that also stands for Emmys as well.
Where, yeah, you kind of got to learn. You got to learn how to avoid them and be particular about it. So, yeah, it was very graceful in the sense where it was like your last doorway that you went through sometimes.
Sure.
So for those Emmy sequences specifically, it's way, way better.
Right. We'll jump into some Emmy talk here shortly, but I just want to hone in on that map first, because the map is something that was, I believe, introduced in maybe Return of Samus. Super Metroid for sure had the map. I'm not sure if Return of Samus had it or not. I know for sure in Samus Returns it's there. But anyways, the map's cool, right? And so in the past, in Super Metroid, for example, your map is a bit more like rudimental. You have these squares, kind of shows you what the rooms are. This map's pretty cool. It's pretty advanced. When I first had to take a look at it, I remember texting you and being like, I don't know what's going on with this map, dude.
It was very intense. Along with the intensity of the intro of the game where you're just put right into it. It's like the map, reading it and understanding it. Everything was a lot.
Over time, though, I'll tell you what, that map is nice. It is buttery. It's smooth. You can zoom in, zoom out on certain things. You can really get a feel for what's going on in each room. And it populates and updates different like key items that you may run into. So if you find like where a missile tank might be, the map will automatically mark that as an area where you can find a missile tank. And then in turn, when you come back and you get that missile tank, the map will automatically update to say that you've acquired that item. For a game like this, that's key, because you're spending all this time going all over the place, and you're like, do I have to go back there? No, do I not? I don't know.
I spent a lot of time searching in the wrong direction, accidentally stumbling into some important power-ups, so it was a nice reward to getting lost.
Sure. I would say, too, that this game, although it's pretty vast, there's a bunch of different areas to explore. As far as the storyline goes, it does a pretty good job of guiding you to where you're supposed to be next without explicitly telling you where to go, right?
Yeah.
So
another classic Metroid-y thing. Sometimes it's a pain in the butt, though. Like, I would love just like a checkpoint or like a little reminder of where I'm headed next. Because like when we talked about earlier, you abandoned this game for 2 weeks.
Yeah.
And then you come back and you're like, I was in the middle of what?
I just want to play Sorry Song and she could just tell me what to do.
It took me a second there. I was like, what? But yes,
Ocarina of Time podcast coming soon.
I had to remember how to do that. I needed to use it a few times. But I'm pretty proudly avoided the internet for the most part of this game. I think there's once or twice where I was like, oh my God, what am I supposed to be doing? Where am I supposed to go? Like, I picked this up and I'm just in this area. I think this was the last upgrade I got. But when you're looking at the map, it'll do a good job of being like, this door needs, this blast. You can kind of search the map over and see if there's an area that you were blocked at previously. And that's how I generally got on track without the intranets. But yeah, the map. It's very nice.
It is.
I see you wrote down all of these, but I don't remember each one from the
other. Oh, the different areas of the map? Yeah, no worries. But
they were cool.
They were cool.
You had lava rooms. And you had ice rooms. You had Metroid stuff.
Totally. Something new that was added to this game is something that we mentioned before, these EMMIs, the Exoplanetary Multiform Mobile Identifiers. Quite the name.
Yeah.
EMMIs for short. But they're these weird robot things that are badass, fast, and they track you down whenever they enter one of your zones, right?
Yeah. It's not like the absolute worst, but they detect you based on sound, and you get different power-ups that kind of help you deal with them, but they also get more powerful over time. And,
sure.
They're definitely extremely overpowered. You literally cannot kill them until you do the certain sequence of things, and they don't really let you get set ability until you've dealt with them in their little area for quite a while. They do give you one reprieve, which is a counter move.
Oh,
and
yeah.
God damn, do you feel cool when you pull off the power move.
That's true.
It's like they do a really cool job, like gameplay-wise. They randomize the timing. It has these 2 attack sequences. So when it first grabs you, you can like get the initial one after you see like a flash, and then it has like this needle thing that stabs your chest, which is like pretty gruesome. You can't like sit there and master the counter timing. Like, it does it. You can pause for a quick second before it does it, and you're going to have all these clammy hands. But when you pull it off, it's like this nice moment where you can run away from it because you stun it for a little bit.
It's great. And it doesn't happen that often, but when you do it, ooh, boy, does it feel nice. Except for in the water one, I like you're underwater and you don't have the gravity suit yet, so essentially you're bogged. Well, you're in water, so like
It's very
the
slow.
physics.
But the Emmy is not any slower. It's
No,
brutal.
so I blocked the Emmy and then I tried to get away and it just didn't work. I was like, man,
Everything makes a tremendous amount of noise too, so like you
Right.
can't get away any fast. So I died to that one a lot.
one of the ones later in the game, you were surprised. You're like, oh, how do you do against? Was it the purple Emmy or because all the different sections are different colors or whatever?
Yeah.
But
They have different.
you're like, I can't believe you didn't have that much trouble with him. But I've discovered, or it's not too big of a secret, but the things with the Emmys, if you pay attention to the map that you're in and you figure out basically a loop that you can make in that area, then you can exploit the map and the surroundings to kind of figure out where the Emmy's going to be in a tight little zone where you can like charge up your gun and kind of take care of
Whenever you're
take care of business.
capital G gamer, that thing was hard as hell. It was such
was
a tight
hard.
spot, and usually you can just cheese them from a distance.
Yeah, and
but-
I'm not saying I'm like great at this. I'm just saying that
Yeah.
there's definitely, as you're fighting these Emmys, like just exploit the map and exploit the things around you to do that. Because you can like get it from anywhere on the map, but there are definitely purposefully like the designers purposely have like these areas that make it a lot easier. If you figure out the flow and the direction to go, it's
That
going to make it a
one-
much easier time.
That one very specifically, like all of them are kind of hard, but it feels fair. That one specifically feels like it was ramped up, and then the next Emmy you face after it, you like kill instantly. So I
Sure.
think it was very much meant to be your last
interesting.
Emmy interaction. So
Right on.
the other ones I could find a nice flat space and just do my thing, but that one it took a long time. Probably harder for me than the last boss was.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah, see, I've had that is an interesting thing because like the last boss was definitely difficult for me, but a couple of the other bosses I had a bigger hang-ups on.
They're fun. So we kind of mentioned the bosses earlier. Just thematically, they're a lot of fun. When you face off against the old homie Kraid,
Oh, who is the second boss in the game?
it's a big alligator homie from the original game or whatever he's supposed to be.
I know for sure he's in Super Metroid. He might be in some of the other ones too, but it's this, like you said, it's like a big, fat, tough, ridiculous alligator alien.
Yep. Got to pump him full of missiles. His boss battle was pretty cool.
And it was super difficult, dude. Granted,
yeah, you had to learn some stuff as far as
and
like,
it's early in the game, so you definitely. I think that boss battle was like, hey, bud, you're gonna lose a bunch. You're gonna keep dying, and you're gonna have to figure out the sequence of attacks Kraid's
but
making.
we're gonna give you super cool cutscenes about it.
True, the cuts, dude. Overall, the cutscenes in
Yeah.
this game were phenomenal. I thought.
Gorgeous, yeah, and well spaced. Like it wasn't
Mm-hmm.
too much of it, wasn't too little of it.
Yeah,
it
because
was nice.
we keep mentioning the storyline because there is a story. It just doesn't really fucking matter.
It's there
But-
for someone, not
Right,
us.
yeah, totally,
necessarily.
totally.
It's a nice paint job for us, but
But I still loved having those little snippets. So I love how you say that. They were well spaced. I don't think they're too long, and they are there for someone.
Yeah.
Kind of for me. I just didn't really care.
yeah, no, I just can't. be
I
bothered
wouldn't want to
with
go
all the
without
background.
them. It's kind of a weird thing, right? Like I care about the story, but I don't care about the
Yep.
story. Is that what I'm
sense.
trying to say?
But the boss fights very thematic.
Oh, dude, that Kraid. So you brought up Kraid though, and not only was he tough, not only was it nostalgic and fun, the cutscenes there were great. I think it like forced you to really like this is how the game's gonna be played. And then when you finally beat Kraid, oh boy, was I excited! I was like, it's about time. I did this like 20 times in a
Yeah.
row.
Lots of death on that one. Lots of like the first phase you die 10 times, then you never die in the first phase again, and then the second phase you die 10 times, but you never die in that phase again, and then
Right.
you have to do the counter thing. I guess we should have mentioned the counter. I think it's a bigger. I think they wanted it to be a bigger detail than it is in the game. We mentioned countering the Emmys, but you can
Right.
counter almost every
Yeah, I want to say it's a
opponent.
what is it? X button, a Y button.
Yeah, the top one, the Y button, I believe it is.
Yeah.
Could be X,
I think it's
actually. You were
X. I always
correct.
get backwards on that.
When you play multiple systems,
Sure.
other than PlayStation, which we had the longest, it's good luck.
Dude, I know between the Xbox controller and the Switch controller, I get so confused
Yeah.
because they're inversed.
But yeah, like you can counter most enemies, and there's usually a bonus for doing so. Like
There's a dash
missiles.
attack that's attached to that that is supposed to be like way
Hmm.
overpowered, but I barely used it.
You have to be good,
Yeah, I guess.
and I am not, for the record here.
Sure.
But yeah, no, and the counter thing, the developers really wanted you to use that So in the boss fights, they're almost always integrated at some point.
Right, and there's some good tells that I didn't catch on to right away, but there's usually like a little flash. Like if you pay attention for the flash, that'll be a good time to do it. But it's one of those things where you're like, it's tense, your palms are sweaty. Like you try to do this like 13 times already, and then you're like, oh my god, it's a flash, and then you're like, oh, I missed it.
But that's like
Or if you do
sometimes they
the
turn
double
in-
counters, dude, like on some of those Chozo Warriors.
double counter.
Yeah, well, so you have to counter it once, and then they come with another attack, and you have to counter it again. And if you like, dude, it sucks so bad when you miss the second like block, and you're like,
Yeah.
I just did the whole damn thing,
Yeah.
and I have to do this again.
Or I jump and dash above them, and then I see the flash counter thing, but I was already so impatient that I ran away from it. In one boss fight, I don't remember the guy's name, big monster thing that you fight that from a distance.
That's like all of them, dude.
Fair. It was a test experiment, went wrong. Still the same thing. All right, yep. No, but this dude, you could like, you countered, and then if you just immediately start spamming your missiles, like Samus will run on him and like does this giant crazy tentacle thing. It wasn't part of the boss fight, like it was obviously, but like it wasn't necessary to beating it. It just felt like I countered something at the right time, and it did this whole cool run sequence thing. It was really badass.
That is cool.
Or in general, when you counter the boss, you can just cheese your missiles, and you'll see Samus like punch
What's
a missile right into his mouth. It's always nice.
outside of Kraid? What was the boss, the one that you just bring up? But what are there any other bosses that really stick out to you?
The one I brought up was really cool. Can't remember the name. But, the Chozo Warriors, we talked about how it didn't feel like we should have struggled against them as long as we did, but we sure did. So they're worth bringing up, especially when you first have to fight the two of them at once. They're annoying, but
That gold one at the end was hard,
he
dude.
was, and they spit that black vomit stuff on you all the time, and it's just like one hit of that is like 4 of your energy
That
tanks.
one was
and you're like,
super
"Come
hard."
on."
That one was more tough for me than the final boss, I think. But I have,
it was
I have
close.
a dirty secret to tell you about the final boss.
Oh no! Do tell.
Uh,
Spoilers if you want to be a capital G gamer and do this on your own.
the majority of this game I did not consult the internet for. And I'm not gonna lie and say I never looked. There was definitely a couple times where I looked, but I tried to get through this game mostly by myself.
There's a pride, even though it's obtuse in the way that you find things in this game.
Totally.
There is a pride to like hitting the one stupid block you didn't notice
Right.
and getting through.
Right. But with Ravenbeak, I watched a YouTube playthrough before I took him on.
Wimp. Why?
I was trying to beat the fucking game, man.
Because you were so triggered that I beat you the day before.
I think it was because I was a relatively long. I can't remember when I took the break. Maybe I did before. I can't remember if I took the break between the Gold Chozo Warrior and Ravenbeak or not, but I was like spent. So I was like, I'm gonna look at this dude's tails, and I did.
But was there a big spoiler in there, or you just?
No, I
spoiled
didn't watch
it?
any
Oh,
spoilers.
okay.
Like
I was like, there was a faster way I could have done that.
Oh no, I don't think so. I think it was just like I just saved myself a couple deaths in the long run, probably, because you still have to do everything. But it was like I definitely knew, like, okay, so because I watched a video prior to, I knew that I was gonna have to do like a slide. I knew that I was gonna have to do a couple of different things.
Yeah, where you like hide under the beams of which he can't hit you, but then he swings and you counter that. Yeah, cool boss fight.
It was really cool, and it still took me a bunch of times because it's not an easy one.
No, you just have to like through constant repetition, you learn the rhythm of it, and that's why it's like sometimes going back to a boss afterwards, you have a fresh mindset and you can beat him. It's like no, you got to keep plowing through until you memorize more of the nonsense.
Totally.
Because if you pick it up the next day, it's not going to be any easier.
There were between Ravenbeak and the Golden Chozo Warrior, I cannot even count how many times that I like dropped my Switch out of just like exasperation. Like I can't take it. I cannot believe that I just died again. I was so close this time. Or you get so close to the end, and then it's like, oh nope, we got you.
I gave it a few.
Man.
Fuck.
Yeah.
I gave it a few of those.
There was one time I was beat. I'm pretty sure it was the Golden Chozo Warrior or whatever, and I'm playing handheld right on the couch, and I just dropped the Switch, and I was like, ah, and I like just do the snap, and my wife's like, it's just a game, honey. And I was like, I know,
The plate of the universe is on your balance.
She's like, you're having fun though, right? And I was like, yeah,
Sort of.
totally. But it's like that difficulty, where it's like it's challenging, is I guess the word
Game's
is.
having fun, but I'm always relieved when I get to a save spot and I can quit.
Sure, because it's
It's a weird thing to
challenging.
say, but
It's a
yeah.
challenging game. There's some, like I love Animal Crossing, but I can't say that Animal Crossing is super challenging, you
Did
know?
you crossbreed flowers, though? I don't know.
Yeah, but you're making your own challenge at that point.
Tedious.
Right, so you're making the challenge at that point. But, even like, I'm trying to think of a good, like, chill game. There's a bunch of them. It doesn't really matter. The point is, it's fun, it's challenging, but yeah, dude, it's one that I probably... I'm super glad that it's been well received. I do think that we will see some continuation of some sort of the Samus's story or something like they'll continue making Metroid games. I'm pretty sure after this one because it sold pretty well.
Yeah, I would love. I mean, if Metroid Prime is being made, I'd be very excited about the 3D experience and kind of seeing maybe not an open world as much as just the 3D space and what that could mean for gameplay. But I'm certainly in support of them making more of the 2D style, just to kind of finish up with the power-ups and the upgrades and, like, the smooth controls that we have alluded to earlier. Like,
Sure.
when you get that, what do they call it, where you just the infinity jump, or is that literally what it's called?
That is...
You can just keep going and going and going. You just keep screwing up, and then you get the screwball attacks. So, like, you just... After a while, you've traversed a lot of these.
Screw attack?
Screw attack
or is it the various
attack. It might just be the suit, but
yeah, you basically can just keep jumping and
just
moving up through air.
Jump up in the air. And especially after, like, when we played Super Metroid a few months back. Oh my god, the double jump made me want to die. So, like, they made everything smooth. Like, there's still a ton of precision, so it's not like an easy game. Nothing we've talked about makes it seem like the easiest game. But I love the fluidity, and I love, like, how overpowered you eventually kind of feel traversing through the map. Like,
because you unlock this whole big map over time, right?
Yeah, and you're constantly getting new powers and new
Sure.
upgrades. Like, it feels a little foolish after a while. Like, you just beat something and got this new ability, then you beat something else and you get this other new ability.
They're all pretty cool too.
Kind of, yeah, but you're just like, after a while, you're like, sure, I can shoot through walls to get these last two things done. Like,
Right.
okay.
Right.
But it's like the game also seems built to, like, maybe not be sped run as much as just if you know it. If it wasn't so hard and if it didn't take as, like it did, it kind of, like, you are kind of curious about starting over and, like, knowing what you know. And, like, I know that a lot of people, when they beat it, hard pass over here.
Oh man, I can't believe that. They're like,
What a
not you
tease.
can play in hard mode. I was like, I'm pretty sure that was hard.
You should count the deaths, and once you have as many as me, you just don't offer the hard mode.
So, like other Metroid games, when you beat this, if you beat it in a certain amount of time, like this dates back to the original Metroid. You get different art at the end of the game, right? So if you beat this game in under 4 hours, they reward you.
Yeah.
In a very...
And I can see beating it really quickly, either with a guide or just the first-hand knowledge of what you just went through.
Sure.
So
yeah, if we were to load this up, we'd probably tear through it. And I think I did roughly 10, like a little under 10. You did
same.
about 8 or 9.
No, it was about the same. It was
Okay.
like 9 to 10. The Switch said I was on there for 15 hours. The actual game
Yeah.
said 9 and some change. And I was like, I'd like to know which one of you was lying to me.
I'm sure you probably had some save things where like the Switch was counting time where it's maybe paused time that you like didn't necessarily progress in the game.
Yeah, but yeah, 9 some hours, almost to 10. And I can see where it would go a lot faster, but because you don't know anything and you have to do the poking around and all the Metroid-y stuff.
I will revisit this game, but I will not revisit this game soon.
No. We definitely played 2 Metroid games in a calendar year. That's a lot.
Yeah,
For casuals, I guess. you know.
I beat 2 Metroid games in a calendar year.
Oh, shut up, man. Got to the last boss. Pretty much there.
I do have a little bit of a desire to play Fusion now.
And you got all the toys. We can get to that in a second, so that's got to incentivize you. So before we get to Alex's toy collection...
what would you rate this game? We beat it. Should we give any spoilers? You know what? There's something that we have to discuss for the folks that have beat this game. I want to discuss it. So at this point, it's not going to take long. I'm going to come in here and post and let you know like how far to go ahead. It's not going to be that far, but there's something that I want to say in regard to the end of this game. So that's your warning. Go ahead and fast forward to the time that I will insert here. Okay, and that time that you want to head forward to skip this Metroid spoiler is 4620. That's 4620. 4620.
So Ganondorf was the whole time, man. He thought it was a game without Ganondorf, and here he is.
Dude.
What a dick.
What's the deal? Razor or Ravenbeak's like your fucking dad, and like what?
The computer, Adam.
What is-
Isn't Adam like a scoundrel in the other
Who
games
was Adam?
too?
Well, so like Adam is like, as far as the lore goes, like Adam is like this. Samus was part of this federation or whatever, and he was like her. I don't know, whatever this army shit, chain of command. He was above her, right? He dies or something.
Space Ranger.
Yeah, he dies in Fusion or whatever, and becomes this AI unit thing. But at the end of the game, like you get to this point where all of a sudden Adam is saying some shit, and it seems pretty sus. And all of a sudden it's like, oh wait, Ravenbeak.
Yeah.
I
There's
was
like some other dude who's like Ravenbeak's species, but I forget that homie's name.
That homie, and he was like throughout, and I enjoyed that
He
part.
comes back too, I guess.
Yeah,
but
that's
like,
like-
maybe that's your ma.
That's like second spoiler though. But dude, I was like, so what's the deal?
Why am I not half Raven guy then? How are you my
It was like,
dad?
So when you talk to Adam throughout this game, was that Ravenbeak the whole time?
I
Is
think
Adam
so.
a thing?
Yeah.
Like,
I think so.
all right, so let's just say that's the case. Okay.
Sure.
Well, so are you like a love child? Are you like a test tube baby? Like I said,
Why are you a white woman and your dad is a bird?
Dude. And I said I don't care about the story, but like the end of the game all of a sudden throws this shit at you, and you're like, wait, what?
And they're like, yeah, doesn't it make sense? I'm like, no. I have follow-up questions in the games like, Triumph, you did it. And I'm like, I have questions. And they're like, who cares?
so
I'm
many
like, all right.
questions at the end there. She's
Sci-fi
like,
nonsense.
test tube baby. I want to say she's like a love child of this weird fucking Chosen
Of
Warriors.
this-
Like,
okay.
yeah, who
Of
knows?
Bird Guy and Metroids.
Yeah.
And, you know.
Oh man, and he's like disappointed her. He's like disappointed. I'm
You don't wanna
disappointed
be
in you, child. It's
Evil
like, wait, what?
ultimate weapon thing or something.
Oh, man.
Because you have Metroid DNA that you've been making stronger the whole. I don't fucking know.
I'm not gonna say that they could have went without that, but I am gonna say I have questions.
Right. So rating the game is difficult.
All right. We'll bring
as, you
let's
know,
bring everybody back
spoils
in.
back. It was not Ganondorf.
Yeah. Oh, I can't believe that
yeah,
shit.
can't believe it. No, Geardham? He was
What would you rate this
the
game?
toe
dude?
monster made a comeback.
Yeah, right. Oh man,
You
not
have
that
to
toe.
fight
Don't.
the toe
I
monster.
don't want to have any more nightmares about
I
that
threw a
damn
toe
thing. No.
toe monster joke in the middle of saying that I'm gonna die fighting these things. I was like, I'd rather fight the toe monster. I think I was joking. Yeah, great game, very cool. I don't think it's kind of weird to give it like a Game of the Year nomination. As far as, I mean, I'm not saying every game's got to be like innovative and move everything forward, but it just feels kind of weird to have like a highly polished, like a chicken
Sure.
sandwich can't win Restaurant of the Year. I don't know.
I don't even know what's going on with time anymore, man. Like I don't like what is. I know the year started in January and it's
Right.
gonna end at the end of December.
So he does know
But-
time,
Well, right, but time is a concept, bro.
right?
But I just like I don't know what other games came out this year that I like went all balls deep in that were like this year.
Right,
There's
because
probably something. What was it? I don't know. What else came out?
As the year review from the Switch thing, it's like clearly mine was Hades by a mile as to
Oh,
what I
yeah,
played
yeah.
the most of. But that's been out for
Skyward Sword was mine.
what that can't win. That's just
I know. That's
that
what
was
I'm,
your
that's
top
what I'm
play?
saying.
Oh yeah, did you play
Game
Hades on
Time.
the computer and stuff?
I
Too?
did. Yeah.
Yeah.
There's
Okay.
some crossplay going on there.
Because so if I looked at like what was the coolest, most impactful game that I played this year, it would have
Yeah.
been Hades. But it didn't come out this year, so
Sure.
I don't know about Game of the Year. I haven't played enough of this year's slate to say. But just based off of principle, I think I like Mario Golf more.
Oh,
So this one's gonna be like a heavy 7,
all
a
right.
thick 7.
Mario Golf started as a 6 for you, bro.
It did, but it was an incomplete game, which is
Yeah,
a
yeah.
shame and a weird thing that industry does now. Metroid was just super cool. I really appreciated that it was what it was, and it wasn't trying to be too bloated. It was
Sure.
a very pared down experience. Not pared down, but just like concise.
It was like perfect.
Concise. There's no
Yeah.
fucking around in it. They just
No.
go at it. Like I said, they drop you right in it. Each minute is fairly demanding for the most part. So like it was a cool curated experience. I just, it's not my style of game all the time. It was really cool to beat. I don't know if would you play this game not attached to the Nintendo brand and Samus? Like,
Oh yeah.
Then beat Hollow Knight already, dude.
I will now that this is out of the way. I mean, I love the Metroidvania
sure.
like platform of game, and I love the Metroid series. And I would go a little higher. Like I definitely, I can't give it full points because I did take like a month and a half break in between. Like it wasn't a game. It's weird, right? Because it definitely was a game that captivated me. I really enjoyed a bunch, but I just wasn't like it didn't encapsulate me in its world where I needed to finish. Right? Like I was like we were talking about earlier. I almost kind of needed a little encouragement to pick it back up.
It is one of those 10 to 15 hour games that feels like you played it for 40 hours,
Totally.
though, in the sense that like
And
it was really cool for the 10 hours.
Yeah. And I'll tell you what, for me in my life and the way I play games, like a 10 to 15 hour game, I like that.
Yeah.
Don't get me wrong, like I love these open world games and shit too, but like
You can get 10 hours in a day of Skyrim and have accomplished nothing. But
Plus, I've
also
got like
tons of awesomeness.
I've got like 4 open world games that I want to play right now, and it's like, well, which one is going to consume my life? I just can't decide. I just want to play a nice, tight 15 hours or something.
Yeah, no, it's concise experience. Yeah.
I'm going to give it a 9.
Oof.
I'm giving it a 9. I was feeling 8, but you know what? Like now I'm going 9, and I'm going 9 because I think that they really outdid themselves on their own game, if that makes sense. They took the Metroid platform that they created and they made it better, and I think they perfected it. I don't think there's anything about this game that I would necessarily change. I just think that the Metroidvania genre that I love so much is just a grueling one.
Yeah, sure.
And yeah, no, I think that, full marks, it would be cool to see this on like a Switch HD if they would have maybe had the chance to do that. I think there's a lot of stuff that goes in there.
Yeah, even on the new, it should be mentioned, it was launched with the OLED screen, so very much the flagship game to go with the new Switch OLED. So it would have been cool to play on one of those.
I think so too, just because I can tell, like, with some of the coloring in this game, like it would probably really pop on that OLED display.
How dark the game is and the true blacks and all
right.
that type of stuff.
Right,
yeah,
right.
it'd be cool.
And us with our regular Switches didn't get to experience that.
Us peasants.
And it also can't have full marks just because I'm like, what the heck's going on with the storyline of Metroid? I don't know. Like, I think the gameplay stuff's cool. I think that, I definitely love the game, but I'm just gonna give it a solid 9. I'm just gonna go with it. That's what I'm doing.
All right. It's
Cool,
your pod, man.
Our pod.
Right.
Luke.
I'll get you a Burger King chicken sandwich about it.
Right on.
So tasty.
This podcast is unofficially brought to you by
Burger King apology tour.
by
Keep making whatever you want. Whatever makes you happy, Burger King. You
Uncle Frankie's.
Oh.
We didn't go to Burger King today. We went to Uncle Frankie's because fuck you, BK. Where's that money?
This podcast is brought to you by stifling burps while the other person talks.
We did just go to a dirty Chicago joint here in Minneapolis.
It was a clean establishment, but dirty in the sense as I want to take a nap. They handle that locale shit.
We made it through. Frankie's, you can keep your money. I just want you to stay open.
You can throw me a Polish from time to time, or maybe an Italian sausage.
Yeah, there we go.
There we go.
Cool.
No, very nice. So some games we're playing.
Yeah.
Well, yours is going to take a little bit more explaining. So I tore through Death's Door, but I'm actually going to talk about that when we talk about Zelda, due to its Zelda-like nature. Oh. And then not going to do a Skyrim pod because anybody and their mother has said everything about Skyrim that one can possibly really say.
Right on.
But for the 10-year anniversary, I felt some type of way. It's actually the first time I've played it since it came out 10 years ago.
Oh, okay.
And I got it over winter break, my freshman year of college.
So you played when it dropped?
Uh-huh.
Oh, I didn't know
on
that.
the PlayStation 3.
You own it? Or does someone, a homie have it?
I borrowed it to a kid. And then, no, I just gave it to a kid.
Oh, like you owned it and gave it to somebody?
Yeah, I was like, I had the PlayStation 3 stuff. And then a kid was like, oh, I always wanted to play that. And I was like, man, I'm going to email your ma. And if she says you can have this rated M game, like, I don't care.
Right on.
But, like, I'm never... And then, yeah, I think his grandpa ended up playing it. Something ridiculous.
That's kind of cool.
Yeah, no, why not? No, but it's better. I'm an elf this time. I'm a high elf because I thought that was funny. And
Yeah.
I named him Elfo, Disenchantment, or
Nice.
Disenchanted, whatever the Matt Groening joint on Netflix. It's a reference to that show. You should watch it. It's a good time.
Okay.
So that's been fun, and I've just been scrimming it up, tackle it on some weekends
Shout out to Al Lauer.
Right.
Scrim Zone.
when you look out your window and it's snowing. There's just something wholesome about scrimming it up for hours and watching time fly and just getting into nonsense. So
I put my toes in the water, man. I started a game, but
I'm gonna
I'm
keep working on him, guys. He's gotta have the same experience as the rest of the gaming world
I
for
have
the
full
last
intention.
10 years.
I have full intention. It seems tight. I just made a couple like weird mistakes that made it so I had to replay some stuff, and I've been tearing my way.
Save scum.
I shouldn't say. Yeah, I need to start save scumming.
Save scum, yeah.
I need to start. I need to start save scumming.
Yeah.
But I've been playing my way through Grand Theft Auto 4, and that's kind of been my back burner PC game. So when that's done, I'll be able to put more time into Scrim.
You just been going out getting drunk with the boys.
In GTA 4.
Yeah.
I declined all those invites because I've been trying to go through
Incredibly
this storyline.
annoying. I appreciate their desire to like mix up the formula, and it did like at the time when it came out. I played it on the 3 and I thought it was awesome.
It is kind of cool. I just
But
don't want to. I'm like that's not the type of experience I'm going for right
The
now.
equivalent of like playing the original Sims and getting that call. Friendships are like plants, and if you do not water them, they wither away and die. It's like, oh my fucking god, you needy! Just trying to go on a rampage. Finishing thoughts on Skyrim,
though, yeah.
I have less bitterness towards Bethesda not releasing the Elder Scrolls game after replaying this one, because everyone always gives them grief for re-releasing the same game on every platform possible, which is like, well, yeah, I want to play Skyrim in every type of way possible. Like, everybody should be able to play that game. It's so moldable to whatever you want to do, and it's so finely, like, as janky as it is so finely crafted to a trillion different experiences that it should be on every platform. And also, to make a game that's with our modern standards of fidelity and detail, to make an Elder Scrolls 6, like, they're going to have to spend an absurd amount of money and an absurd amount of time. So, like, making that game is next to impossible. So it's kind of like the current wait for Breath of the Wild 2. It's like, well, when are we going to get it? And I'm like, you don't exactly just follow up. Because, like, replaying Elder Scrolls 5 Skyrim, I'd say it's like a top 5 to top 10 game I've ever played. So, like, yeah, no, and it was on that list, but, like, it had fallen off of it just because I hadn't played it since I crushed it when it first came out.
Yeah.
I never did another playthrough until now. So, like, it definitely deserves to be up there just because it's just wild what you get into in that game.
And you're playing with a mouse and keyboard?
Yeah, which is a little groovy, but I like it for all the tedious inventory management nonsense that I get into. But I had no issues with the controller back in the day, so whatever floats your boat. But
Yeah.
So everybody's mad at Bethesda all the time. I get it, but also, like,
Let's play more Skyrim.
play more Skyrim and just, like, when it
Dude,
comes out,
I got some
I'd be
homies
right.
that like love Skyrim, but like the Elder Scrolls, like all the other Elder Scrolls games, it's like they're even bigger. Like not all of them, but a couple of them are even bigger, man. Like
You think?
to my understanding, yeah.
I bought whatever the 4th one is on a Steam sale, and I don't know if I want to play this one more or if I just want to jump right into that one. But I am a little Oblivion, a little curious.
I think it might be Oblivion.
I think it's
I'm not I'm not up to date on my Elder Scrolls stuff, but
You've never even scrimmed. How can we even listen?
well, I scrimmed for like 4 hours, 5 hours.
I scrimmed for like 40 minutes.
The game seems tight. I want to play it too. My understanding of this, I don't know which one it is, but it's more procedurally generated dungeons. So like the map is just huge, and like these dungeons are procedurally generated, and you don't really know what you're going to get. And there's like
Kinda
the
Diablo
explorations.
style.
Yeah, the exploration is like out of control. That said, when you're looking at something that vast, like some things, to my understanding, start to feel like a little repetitive.
Yeah, you can tell they reuse. I mean, obviously they reuse assets. It'd be wild if every
Right.
barrel in every cave was unique, but for the most part, like I will stop and just kind of wonder in some areas, like someone designed this cave, and when I'm exploring it in 5, I'm like, just the little clues they leave behind and the goofy things. Like,
Do you
it
read all the
tickles.
books?
No, but
I got some homies that read the books. They read the whole damn thing.
that's awesome.
I guess I don't have the patience.
I'm forgetting his name, but he works for Polygon. He does those hilarious videos. He does a thing where he reads them all and categorizes them. And it's a plug if we can find that. It's awesome. But yeah, get into your Toy Story. I'm also playing like 7 other games because I'm a mess.
Dude, I want to hear about that
Story for
because
another
finally Luke is like, he's on some Alex shit where he's got about
playing
13 different
7
games
games.
going.
Well, I'll get more into playing Ocarina of Time and then, when we get into that. But also from the update, I got the new Got the new Paper Mario. Not the new Paper Mario, but the
64?
Paper
On the
Mario
expansion
64 on the expansion pack.
Sure.
So I'm playing that now.
Oh, you started it.
Zelda, yep. I just bought SteamWorld Dig 2 for no good reason. Scrimming, and I got like 5 computer games that are looking at me. And I just finished...
Death's Door, right?
Yeah, Death's Door is awesome. Really liked that. Have a lot to say about that one. And so I've been, still Madden, for better or for worse, still maddening it up occasionally. So... with Metroid and then some other stuff kind of off to the side, just goofier things. I've been playing like 5 to 6 games as of late.
I dig it.
Yeah, little
Finally on my
scatterbrained.
level.
Little scatterbrained for sure.
Yeah, what's up with me, man? So I've been playing. We just finished Metroid. We're getting close to finishing Ocarina of Time. I've been playing Grand Theft Auto 4, a little bit of Skyrim, but not enough for Luke to acknowledge that I played a little Skyrim.
I mean, he hasn't even killed a dragon yet. Like, come on.
I killed the first dragon, bro.
Okay. Like, come on. But yeah, all right.
Some troll killed me.
Yeah.
And he killed me 3 times and I forgot to save before his time. So that's why. Anyways. So I've had all that shit going on, which is cool. But what I'm really excited about is Analog's Pocket finally shipped. It's right behind you over there, charging. Grab it, pick it up, check it out, bud.
Sure, I don't gotta wash my hands first.
I would like you to. No, just kidding. It's fine. Go ahead and unplug that. Analog's Pocket is something that was announced, I want to say, 2 years ago. So I ordered this thing a better part of 2 years ago, and I've been just fucking stoked about getting this thing. You don't have to actually worry about your fucking dirty mitts, dude.
Well, my hands are greasy and the screen is black.
I don't think we talked enough in Metroid Dread, like how sweaty I got on some of those bosses. So
The answer
just
is
gonna
sweaty.
throw that out there. Like we're talking like my hands and my armpits. Oh, that game was stressful.
Yeah.
but
Just the clammiest of hands.
yeah,
Turn this thing on.
there's the green power button. Hold it down for 2 seconds. So this thing is super cool. It's like a high fidelity, high def Game Boy player essentially. So it looks a lot like the Pocket, only it's about the size of a regular Game Boy DMG with a screen that is phenomenal. And it plays Game Boy Advance, Game Boy Color, and it also, with an adapter, plays Game Gear games, which is super rad. Then eventually they will be releasing various other adapters for things like the Neo Geo, the Atari Lynx, all that kind of shit, which is kind of cool too.
I broke it. It doesn't work. I'm trying to get some game to work. Something about My Little Pony Island Express. It won't work or something.
The thing is super rad though, and I have a really massive, I don't know, that's relative, man. I have a lot of games for the Game Boy and the Game Boy Advance.
He has a massive collection to us normal folk.
Yeah, but that's just it, because like other collectors out there, they'd be like, look at your little collection.
Baby collection to them.
But it's a cool one. And they're loose carts, but I have cases for them all. And it's one of these things, like this particular toy is super dope. I love it. It is so fun. And I get to play all these games, like similar to the past, when I was telling you about that, when we talked a little bit about the Analog's Mega SG. Shout out to Analog. How about some of that Analog money? Word. But anyways, they create really cool products. And this allows me to play all the different Game Boy carts that I have and Game Gear. And it is just like the best retro handheld gaming experience that I've had, and I've been waiting for this thing.
Really nice.
I've been waiting for this thing to drop for about 2 years. It finally shipped with a bunch of pushbacks on their delivery dates, and it's finally here. And it's it has met it's everything that I had hoped it could be, which is super cool. I'm excited for it. It's also got some other bells and whistles that came with, like I bought the dock extension, so it's like the Switch. The Nintendo Switch, you can plop it into the dock and then it plays on your TV. Oh, word. Which is super cool.
What controller?
It works with 8-Bit Do, which is another company. Shout out 8-Bit Do. How about that 8-Bit Do money? These brands, these brands are super cool though. It's, we're not getting sponsored by any of these folks.
Not by choice.
But if you want to, yeah.
I'll take
but it's cool. It's cool product. This is a cool product. The problem is that with supply chain and all that stuff, you can now pre-order these again, but you probably won't get yours until 2023. That said, so that said, I had to wait about 2 years for mine, and when it came, I was so happy. And you can be so happy too if you love these types of games. I'll tell you what though, if you're not into Game Boy, if you don't have a massive Game Boy collection like I do, like you could probably skip this thing. I'm not gonna lie. But if you're the type of person that does have that thing or Game Gear, it's just super cool.
I have no Game Boy games. I just think the thing looks really cool. It's very aesthetically pleasing.
It is. It's
Very
designed
minimalist.
super well.
Yeah, and then the screen once again is really really cool because, I mean, the old school toaster didn't have the best resolution,
Right.
So it's fun to see it kind of higher powered.
And that's it. That's what we got this time.
So now we can take our postponed Frankie's nap.
Yeah. Shout out Uncle Frankie.
Oof.
Much love, y'all. Catch us on the internet.
Get your cats spayed and neutered. That's a
You know.
joke. It's Bob Barker reference, I think.
Till next time.
You can cut that.
Lo-Fi Gaming is a Studio Lo-Fi production. Our theme music was produced by AJ Norman, and our show art was designed by Studio Dayjob. We're an independent podcast and would love it if you supported us by listening, subscribing, and sharing us with your friends. Visit us at lo5gaming.com.
But you can block.
Hold on one second. I'm just going to see what the fuck it means.
Winston better be dead out there, Murphy. What you complaining about? Like, no, I swear it's a big deal.
Hey, buddy. Hey. You guys cool? Come on. Go do your thing. Go play. Be cool.
Nerds. They're just like, what are you guys doing in there? Bark. Emmys.